Elyria City School District has a storied history, generations old. The first schools in Elyria were log buildings until the first tax-supported schoolhouse was built in 1827. It was called the Yellow Schoolhouse, and it was on Court Street. Heman Ely, Elyria's founder, donated the land and at his own expense built a second story for the community use. Through the 19th and 20th centuries, Elyria continued on a path of building schools to house its growing population of kids. Schools were built alike with designated classroom spaces and rows of single-file desks, all facing the teacher at the front of the room. Times changed, families became smaller, and they had options for relocating. The number of kids attending school dropped too, and Elyria City School District adjusted throughout the years, closing and combining schools. Today the district is home to 11 schools for its 6,400 students and one administration center. In this 21st century, school has changed a lot. Students are encouraged to work together, to collaborate. They're told to talk to each other and to work together on projects. Learning is tailored now for each student. Individual and small group instruction is what's standard today. And technology? Well, it's here, and it's here to stay. Smart boards, workstations, laptops, handheld devices, and smartphones. Schools and educators must keep up and even foretell the future to prepare kids for the world they live in now and the world they'll be expected to lead. The age of our elementary and middle schools make them unable to keep up with today's learning needs. The buildings are 60 to 100 years old and not built for modern technology. These old buildings were built with few outlets and the standard circuitry for their era. So conduit snakes through the classrooms and hallways of every elementary and middle school to create pathways for connectivity. Classrooms are decorated cheerfully, so it's easy to miss their limitations. But our elementary and middle school spaces don't support teaching and learning today. In our century-old schools, Ely and McKinley Elementaries, age and the resulting shortcomings are unmistakable. Steps at every level that are out of compliance and make it impossible for anyone with a physical disability to enter and navigate the building. Old heating units like radiators that adjust manually and are hot to the touch. In the heat of May through September, the multi-level buildings are sweltering. Spring rains and heavy melting snow wreak havoc on the old structures. Water runs through the roof and into the ceilings and classrooms below, or up from the ground, pooling in the basement level. In the classrooms, collaboration and customized learning is a challenge because spaces are cramped. Teachers and principals are inventive, and they turn old showers and broom closets into quaint spaces for learning, but along the walls and ceilings, the building's shortcomings are ever present. To gain extra space for small groups or to hold confidential meetings, they carve out space in the hallways or in nooks of offices or classrooms or spaces that are already in use. At Crestwood Elementary, for example, children who come to see the nurse are treated in a small area of the busy main office. Principal Grossman tells the story.
This is now our health clinic.
Oh boy, right out
So
here,
this is, yeah, right next. So
central area.
it has some advantages when you have the secretary and our nurse isn't here. Our school nurse isn't here every single day, but it gives her a close proximity. But it also makes it a little tough when you have multiple sick children and you're greeting a parent.
It's a similar story at Ely, where the nurse's office is barely large enough for the patient and nurse together. That's just one example of many spaces that do the job, just not well. Traveling through Ely to the basement, it's as though time stands still. 3 mammoth boilers that are decades old work hard to fire water and produce heat for the building. The concrete floor peels and crumbles from water runoff and pooling. In heavy rains or melting snow, a water path emerges from the foundation walls across the floor and to the drain.
It is a good thing you can't smell at home because it smells really nasty in here because of all the condensation. I mean, look at the wall and you can see that we have water sometimes down in here. Well, you can see all the cracks in the wall too, but these 3 boilers is what makes our building hot on the days it's not 85 degrees out. In the winter, these boilers heat the building, and we typically run 2 boilers at any one time and have them rotating in a cycle so that if one of them breaks down, we still have 2 boilers that can run. We've had times where we've had 2 boilers down and we've had to run on 1 boiler. But if we ever had all 3 boilers down at the same time, we wouldn't be able to have school because this is the only way we get heat in the building, and these things are old, and I'm talking old.
An old industrial-size air handler shares space in the basement and cranks fresh air to Ely's gymnasium. It makes so much noise, conversation next to it is nearly impossible. The elementary and middle school buildings across the district tell the same stories in varying degrees. Cramped spaces, inefficient technology, and failing infrastructure. Elyria High School is new, and the test scores are improving. Graduation rate is more than 90%, and our high school kids have access to technology that prepares them for the future. The state has evaluated our elementary and middle schools and said they need to be replaced due to age and deterioration. The state has pledged $80 million, or 67% of the cost, to rebuild elementary and middle schools in Elyria. New schools will support learning today and into the future and improve education in the Elyria City Schools.